My wealthy father was worried that my mother was a gold digger and that she would turn me into one too. So he ordered that every expense we had to make be processed through him for approval. Later, when my mother ate a cake brought by the neighbor's daughter, she had an allergic reaction and fainted. I asked my father to pay for the emergency treatment fee of $3,000, but he rejected me. You've really been corrupted by your mom. At only 8 years old, you've already learned to lie so easily. Go back and tell her. If she wants money, fine. After she dies, I'll burn as much as she wants. In my desperation, I had no choice but to sell the safety lock my mother gave me and called my grandmother, who was on the other side of the world, to vouch for me, finally scraping together the money. But when I went to pay with the bank card, the nurse said there was no money in the account. I cried and pleaded that it couldn't be true. But then my father called. Did you scam that money from your grandmother? You really are out of control. I've already confiscated it. I knew it. Both you and your mom are gold diggers. I regret having you. After hanging up, he blocked all contact with both me and my mom. My mother didn't get the treatment she needed in time and suffocated to death. But when I came out of the crematorium, I saw a post from the neighbor girl online. Where the money is, there the love is. The photo showed my dad holding the neighbor girl, with the neighbor's wife proudly showing off her $3 million bracelet. Chapter 1. I was only 8 years old, carrying my mother's urn. My small body barely made it home. It started to rain outside. A flash of lightning struck, as if splitting my parents' wedding photo on the wall in half. Even though there was a roof to shield us, the rain still soaked my world through and through. I turned on the light and looked around at the items that had appeared in our home. On the sofa was Roxana's jacket. The dolls on the shelf were Amelia's. When did these two, mother and daughter, invade our home? I didn't know. At first, my dad brought Amelia home and said he'd found me a little sister to play with. I took care of Amelia in every way. Mom also helped Mrs. Roxana find a house. And soon, the two of them became our neighbors. But I wasn't stupid. I could tell that. Compared to me and Mom, Dad cared much more about Roxana and Amelia. But I didn't dare expose it. Dad controlled all the household expenses, and I didn't want to hurt Mom by revealing the truth. But now, all the reasons I had for keeping quiet were gone. The door opened, and the sounds of cheerful laughter and talking filled the air. Amelia, if you want anything next time, just tell me. Isn't making money for the family's happiness what it's all about? Dad's voice was cheerful and generous as he made promises. All the warmth was directed toward the mother-daughter pair, Roxana and Amelia. Amelia was dressed in a pink princess gown, even though it was raining outside. Her white little shoes were still pristine. Meanwhile, Roxana's wrist gleamed with a diamond bracelet, sparkling in the light. Unlike me, I looked down at my wrinkled clothes, with mud stains from when I fell earlier on. And my mother, she had turned into a cold, little box. Sister, your eyes are all red. What's wrong? Amelia asked, stepping forward, her big, watery eyes staring at me. Behind her, Roxana shifted slightly, as if to distance herself from Dad. Dad shot her a disappointed glance before turning to vent his frustration on me. Helen, you're filthy. Where's your mother? Can't she at least clean you up a bit? Don't think that just because you're all scruffy and pushed in front of me, I'll believe your mom's lie. I bit my lip and raised my head. I couldn't hold back any longer. You're Mom's legal husband, aren't you? You rejected her $3,000 emergency treatment fee, but you're willing to spend $3 million on strangers? The words left my mouth, and Dad's face turned pale. Amelia suddenly burst into tears, grabbing my arm. Sister, you misunderstood. Yesterday was my birthday. I don't have a dad, and I begged Mr. Moo to spend time with me. Her words were full of feigned innocence, but her eyes gleamed with satisfaction. I shook her off. Why should my dad spend time with you? Ever since you two showed up, you've taken everything from me and Mom. Your presence even stole my mom's life-saving money. Are you even human? I looked at Dad and couldn't hold back my sorrow any longer. I burst into tears, and in a decisive voice, I said, Cameron, Mom and I don't want you anymore. Go be someone else's dad. Someone else's husband. Blood ties had turned into a sharp knife that took my mother's life, and it severed all the expectations I had for my father. It was him who promised to love and stay with Mom forever, but it was also him who let her die. I always thought my parents had love for each other, but once, when Mom was drunk, I learned the truth. Their marriage happened because Dad entered the wrong room one night, but afterward, He convinced himself that Mom had seduced him on purpose, humiliating her at every turn. When Mom unexpectedly got pregnant with me, she wanted to abort, but because of her health, she couldn't. If she had, she would have been unable to have children for the rest of her life. She hesitated for days, and eventually, my grandmother found out. Grandma forced Dad to marry Mom, but Dad, fearing that Mom was a gold digger and would turn me into one too, insisted that every penny we spent must be approved by him first. He had to audit it. Last year, on my birthday, Dad unexpectedly didn't require Mom to go through the approval process and bought a cake for us instead. He promised us both, Helen, Julia, you two are everything I've ever wanted. Our family will always be together, always happy. Mom thought Dad had finally considered us as family. But yesterday, when Mom went into anaphylactic shock, I asked Dad to approve the emergency fee. He rejected me. In despair, I sold the safety lock my mom had given me, and that money was mercilessly taken by Dad. It was Mom's life-saving money. Cameron, the city's successful entrepreneur, my mother's husband, my biological father, abandoned his sick wife in the hospital to be with the neighbor's daughter on her birthday. He didn't deserve to be human. I wiped away my tears stubbornly and stared into my father's eyes. I saw nothing but deep disappointment and impatience in his gaze. These words were Julia's idea, weren't they? I knew she was up to no good. When she couldn't get money from me, she started sowing discord between father and daughter. I wanted to argue, to tell him that he didn't need to worry about Mom deceiving him for money anymore because she was already dead. But then, an elderly voice interrupted me. Cameron, what happened in the house yesterday? It was Grandma. Yesterday, when I went to the jewelry store to sell the safety lock, the clerk insisted on a guardian's guarantee. So, I had to call Grandma, who was living on the other side of the world, for help. To my surprise, she had flown back after a 10-hour flight. Before I could say anything, Dad shot me a glare and answered first. Mom, with me as the head of the family, how could anything happen? Don't talk so big. Little things matter too. If you can't even manage this family well, how can the shareholders trust you to manage the company? Grandma scolded Dad lightly, then continued, the day before yesterday, I received a call from little Helen. She told me Julia had an allergic reaction and was rushed into the emergency room. The hospital issued a critical condition notice. I called you and asked you to go to the hospital, but the call was answered by a little girl. Did she pass the message to you? Chapter 2. My father glanced at Amelia. Amelia immediately lowered her head, and Roxana stepped in, pretending to be busy as she arranged Amelia's hair. Seeing this, my father turned back to my grandmother. Showing no concern, he casually said, Julia is my wife. I know her well enough. She's always pretending to be ill to get money from me, and now she's corrupted Helen too. Upon hearing this, my grandmother's face darkened. She scolded him sternly. What are you saying? Julia is your wife, and your money is her money, and Helen is only 8 years old. How could you say such things in front of her? I stood there, unable to stop myself from drifting off in thought. Ever since my father had started celebrating my birthday, his relationship with Mom had taken a positive turn. He would occasionally bring home gifts for me and Mom, but Mom was always uneasy. Yesterday, after I woke up from my nap, I overheard her talking to a friend on the phone. The wallet Cameron gave me is the latest Chanel giveaway. The toys he gave Helen, turns out, they're just a gift for reaching a spending threshold at Disney. I didn't understand those words. All I knew was that after hanging up, Mom locked herself on the balcony for over an hour. When she came out, she hugged me tightly, tears falling uncontrollably. Helen, let's leave your dad, okay? You know, I'm a biological science graduate student, and my professor called, hoping I can return to the lab. Without your dad, I can raise you on my own. Do you believe me? With tears in her eyes, Mom held my arm. Trembling, I held her back as tightly as I could. I believe in you, Mom. Mom was so emotional that the tears just kept coming. She quickly began packing our things, contacting a lawyer to draft the divorce agreement. There was so much to do, but her eyes were brighter than I had ever seen them before. Not long after, the doorbell rang. Mom went to open it, and there stood Amelia. Mrs. Julia, today's my birthday. I brought you some cake. Mom frowned. Happy birthday. You don't need to bring cake. Go back now. But Amelia refused to leave. She lingered at the door with a sad expression. saying, "Mrs. Julia, my mom said thank you for taking care of us. If not for you and Helen, we wouldn't be living like we do now. She insisted that I bring you the cake. Or else she said she'd punish me." Why would Roxana say such things? Mom was shocked. But seeing the look in Amelia's eyes as if she was about to cry, she reluctantly accepted the cake. That wasn't enough. Amelia looked at Mom eagerly, and only when Mom finished the cake did she finally smile and leave. As she turned to leave, I clearly saw the malice in Amelia's eyes, so intense it was almost overflowing. I told Mom about it, but she just smiled and said, "What can a child do? Besides, your dad will be home soon. Even though he doesn't love me, he wouldn't let anything happen to me." Hearing Mom say that, I suppressed the unease growing in my heart. Looking at the clock on the wall, I found myself unexpectedly hoping that Dad would come home soon. But by the time Mom had an allergic reaction and died in the hospital, my father still hadn't shown up. I overheard the doctor and nurse talking. The patient was conscious until her last second. I saw her fingers twitching toward her daughter. "Did you hear? She's the wife of Moo Group's president. With all that money, she couldn't even get the 3,000 yuan for her own wife's emergency treatment. It's heartless. That poor girl. Her mom's dead. And her dad, it would have been better if he had died instead." Before this, I didn't really understand life and death. But Mom taught me that with her own life. If I could, I would have given my own life to keep Mom alive. She had just started to get a new life. She had just started becoming herself, but now, she would never have the chance. I hated Amelia, hated Roxana, and hated my dad. I wished they would all die. But now, I watched my dad lie to my grandmother, not even flinching, to protect Roxana and Amelia. The hatred inside me turned to despair. Even if they all died, my mom would never come back. Seeing my grandmother's face turn pale, Dad became worried about her heart condition and quickly called his assistant to send her to the hospital. Once Grandma left, he immediately turned his angry gaze on me. "You knew your mom was really sick. Why didn't you tell me?" I ignored him. Carefully, I placed my mom's urn down and then reached for the photo of Mom and me on the coffee table. Mom didn't like this place. I wanted to take every trace of her with me. Seeing I didn't respond, Dad slapped me in frustration. I lost my balance and fell to the ground. The photo frame shattered, its shards embedding into my palm, blood dripping and staining the floor. "Why are you acting like your mom's dead? Who are you doing this for?" Roxana feigned concern and pulled Dad aside before coming over to help me up. "Helen, your dad didn't mean to push you. He's just worried about you. Amelia was naughty yesterday, so I'll have her apologize to you and your mom. All right?" Amelia stepped forward too, pretending to apologize. But my father shielded them from me. "Aim, you're just too kind. Helen's been corrupted by Julia. She only cares about having a happy family, but she doesn't care about anyone else's family." Chapter 3. I clenched my fists tightly, trying to hold back the tears that came from the physical pain, and questioned him. "Cameron, do you remember the promise you made to Mom? Years ago, Dad had made a video with Mom to prove she wasn't a gold digger. I had found it while playing hide and seek and watched it again with Mom. Now, I looked up, staring directly into my father's somewhat confused eyes. Each word I spoke was deliberate. "In that video, you said that as long as Mom wasn't after your money, you would treat her well. You said, even without love, you would fulfill your duties as a husband and father." My lips trembled, and suddenly I tasted the salty sting of tears. "But Mom died in the hospital because you rejected her payment request. All the things you said were just lies." Dad seemed taken aback, not expecting an 8-year-old to speak like this. He stood frozen, stunned. Amelia, on the other hand, seemed to panic. She hurriedly shook her head. How could she have died? How could a dead person call Mr. Moo and spread rumors? If I hadn't blocked both of you on the phone, my birthday would have been ruined. Those words completely ignited my anger. Ignoring my weakened body, I lunged at Amelia, grabbing her and pulling at her hair furiously. Dad suddenly grabbed me, his once broad, strong arms now forcefully throwing me to the ground. "Helen, stop losing control. Amelia is just a child. How would she know all that? She didn't mean to hide the fact that your mom was sick. I'm making the decisions here. This ends now. And you, why are you joking about your mom's life? Is this what your mom taught you to say?" As I fell, my chin hit the floor, sending sharp pain through my body. But Dad stood firmly in front of Amelia, shielding her. Amelia and Roxana both wore triumphant expressions. I took a deep breath, wiping my face with my arm. Who do you think you are to make decisions here? My father? My mom's husband? Or their support system? Who is the one not valuing my mom's life? Joking about it? Cameron, you've been married for 8 years. If you don't love Mom, if you don't want this family, you could have just said it. Mom and I would have left. Your filthy money. We wouldn't want a single coin. I screamed, my voice raw. Mom thought I didn't understand, but I did. I understood Dad's indifference, his cruelty. Dad was a rich man, and Mom was just an ordinary girl. Without that one accident, their paths would never have crossed. Even though Mom was a biology graduate student, to Dad, her education meant nothing. And Roxana, Amelia often said her mom was a piano teacher, cultured and fashionable. Together, the three of them looked like a perfect family. If it weren't for me, maybe Mom would have left long ago. But now, just when Mom had made up her mind to leave, she lost her chance forever. Unable to hold back his anger any longer after my confrontation, Dad snapped. Don't want money? You sure make it sound noble. If you were so righteous, Julia wouldn't have forced me into marriage with her while she was pregnant. A gold digger like her. I let her in the door, let you two have food to eat, and that's already the most I can do. What gives you the right to talk back to me? I couldn't take it anymore. I opened my mouth and bit Dad's hand. The taste of blood filled my mouth almost instantly. Roxana suddenly yanked my hair as I let go in pain. She slapped me hard across the face. Chapter 4. Half of my face was swollen and bruised, numb from the pain. My ears were ringing incessantly. I hadn't even turned 8 yet, so I was no match for 2 adults. Combined with the overwhelming sadness, my body became weak, and I collapsed to the ground. You can't control yourself, and you don't have the ability to resist Grandma's arrangements. How does this relate to my mom? Enough! Dad glared at me with a twisted expression. Isn't it you and your mother who are always pretending to be pitiful and reporting everything to others? I had no choice. I just wanted some peace. Just one day without answering your calls. And Julia teaches you to say these things, deliberately trying to hurt me. She's disgusting. Dad stomped on a photo of Mom and me, yelling in fury. So, in his eyes, Mom and I were like this. He felt suffocated by this family but was forced to stay because of Grandma's pressure. Roxana and Amelia tried to comfort him. Cameron, Julia just wanted you to care more. That's why she taught Helen to say those things. Don't be angry, Moo. Don't be mad at Sister Helen. Even though I'm younger, I know we shouldn't hurt family. Sister doesn't understand this yet. Maybe it's because of her upbringing. You can just teach her. The two of them worked in tandem. When Roxana saw the injury on my face, she feigned sympathy and brought a first aid kit, trying to bandage me. But Dad pulled her back coldly. Don't touch her. Who knows? Maybe she'll sue you. Those two are habitual fraudsters. I'm the best example. He checked the palm of his hand, where Roxana had slapped me, before shouting at me again. Helen, I am the head of this family. If Julia still wants to live like a rich wife, she can hurry back, clean you up, and clean up this mess. I remained expressionless, pointing to the urn with Mom's ashes and coldly saying, Mom is right here. She wanted to wait for you to come home and tell you that she wanted a divorce. She was willing to leave with nothing. But now, she can't say it anymore. At that moment, Dad still thought I was acting, his face darkening with anger. He kicked over the urn with the ashes and cursed loudly. Are you done with this nonsense? You mother and daughter. Everything you say for money is a lie. I should never have expected anything from you. A gold digger. No wonder she raised a gold digger. Want a divorce? Fine. Get out then. Go ahead. But don't come crawling back when you regret it. Just then, Grandma returned from the hospital. She froze when she saw the urn overturned on the ground. Dad seized the opportunity and said to her, Mom, I want a divorce. Julia has spoiled Helen. I won't care about them anymore. Before he could finish, Grandma slapped him hard. Cameron, you idiot. Do you know what you just kicked over? That was your wife's urn. Dad was frozen on the spot when he heard that. In the next moment, he suddenly turned around, grabbed my ear, and shouted furiously, So, Julia really tricked my mother into believing this? She'll stop at nothing to get money. Get Julia over here right now. If she doesn't show up, even though you're my daughter, I'll make you regret it. And just as he yelled, I couldn't hold back anymore. I stepped out from behind Grandma. I threw the prepared severance letter in front of him. Stop fooling yourself. I told you. My mom and I don't need you anymore. Seeing that, Dad finally started to realize that maybe everything I said was true. A look of confusion flashed in his eyes. Julia, really? Grandma gave him a look full of disappointment, and I stayed silent. Amelia suddenly noticed a piece of paper beside the overturned urn. She pulled it out and tugged at Roxana's hand. Roxana glanced at the paper, and her face turned pale with a sharp gasp. Of course, she was shocked, because it was Mom's death certificate. In black and white, it clearly stated that Julia Choo, Mom, died from an allergic reaction and suffocation after eating a cake with mango in it. Dad grabbed the death certificate and scanned it in disbelief. His entire body stiffened, slowly becoming frozen in shock. He could no longer deceive himself. He turned his gaze to me, opened his mouth as if to say something, but nothing came out. Both Mom and I were highly allergic to mangoes. Just the smell would make us uncomfortable, let alone eating it. That's why we never had mangoes at home. Mom had once said, even though your dad reviews every expense, he never rejects anything, and he never brought mangoes home. In his heart, he does care about this family. Helen, you should love and respect your dad. At the time, I thought Mom loved Dad so much that she would even deceive herself. Now, looking back, she just wanted me to have a complete family. If she hadn't deceived herself, she probably couldn't have held on. But I failed to notice her true thoughts, blindly going along with her and covering up the illusion of peace. Chapter 5. Dad refused to sign the severance letter or agree to a divorce. In her fury, Grandma slapped him again and forcibly took me to the hospital to treat my wounds. I longed to escape everything related to the Move family, but reality wouldn't allow it, after all. I was still just an 8-year-old child. For all these years, Dad wouldn't even give Mom an extra penny, and the New Year's red envelopes Grandma gave me were always confiscated. The only thing of value was the safety lock Mom bought with her savings before marriage, but even that was sold. After learning about Mom's situation, Grandma was so furious that her heart condition worsened, and she was hospitalized. I stayed with her in the hospital to take care of her. The weather was unusually clear today. I sat on a bench by the lawn, took a photo with my phone, and sent it to Mom. Then, it dawned on me, this Mom, who never failed to respond, would never reply again. As the sadness surged inside me, a figure suddenly appeared in front of me. I looked up and saw the long-missed face of Dad. Helen. Dad squatted down, meeting my gaze, his voice earnest yet hoarse. Come home with me, okay? I remained silent, my eyes cold and distant. He reached out to touch my face, but I turned my head and avoided him. He froze, his eyes filled with deep sorrow. I'm sorry. I wasn't a good husband, and I wasn't a good father. I feel guilty about your mom's death. If I had come home that day, she wouldn't have, but she's already gone. Now, I'm the closest person to you in this world. I'm sure you don't want her to worry about you from the afterlife, seeing that we're drifting apart, right? I looked at Dad again. No, to be precise, he was Cameron, the man I had respected and admired all my life, who not only took my mother's life but now tried to use familial ties to morally blackmail me. What do you want? I asked him coldly. He thought I was softening, and took out a lollipop, speaking in a gentle tone to try and coax me. Of course, I want you to come back home with me. We're family, and families should live together. And about your mom's funeral, you, as her daughter, should be the one to step up. On the day of the funeral, the police will be there. You just need to say that your mom died from an allergic reaction to mangoes. Don't say anything else. Understand? Cameron's words only strengthened my resolve to sever ties with him. When Mom was taken to the hospital after the allergic reaction, I was the only child with her. So many people came to see. When they asked me what happened, I explained it all clearly. The people who heard the full story were filled with anger. I didn't understand back then, but later when I told Grandma, she said this was murder. Grandma reported it to the police, and investigations were underway. All the evidence pointed to Roxana and Amelia, but since the cake had been served to Mom by Amelia, who was still a child, the case was stalled. However, witnesses had already posted detailed accounts and photos online. As a result, Moo Corporation was boycotted, and the stock price dropped several points. Cameron's name was trending with harsh criticism. It said that Roxana and Amelia were under house arrest, It was precisely because of the enormous backlash that he came to find me and said these things. Even more laughable was that he thought that blood ties alone could persuade me. I spoke coldly. The thing I hate the most is that half of your blood runs through my veins. The moment the words left my mouth, Cameron's face turned pale. Before he could say anything, I continued, "You think I don't understand? You're wrong. The moment my mom died, I had no choice but to grow up. I advise you to come clean about what Roxana and Amelia did. Or when the police uncover the truth, you can just wait for them to pay for my mom's life." My words enraged Cameron. He raised his hand as if to slap me, but when he saw the still healing scars on my face and hands, he stopped himself. After a long pause, a nurse arrived, and he gritted his teeth, muttering, "I'm your immediate family. If I don't let go, you're not going anywhere." Before storming off, I followed the nurse back to the ward. I wasn't paying attention and bumped into a little girl. I staggered back in pain, but the little girl's mother quickly picked her up, offering comfort and scolding me to watch where I was going. I suddenly felt deeply sad. It was clear that I was hurting too, but my mom couldn't comfort me anymore. All of this was because of Roxana and Amelia. Yet, my biological father, in order to protect them, was trying to find ways to let them escape punishment. When I returned to the ward, Grandma asked what had happened. I suddenly grabbed her hand. "Grandma, I've decided. I'll go abroad with you for elite education, and then I'll take over Moo Corporation. As for Cameron, I never want to see him again." Grandma paused for a moment. Then she tightly grasped my hand. Chapter 6. The day of Mom's funeral. Cameron brought Roxana and Amelia, along with a crowd of reporters. As I got out of the car holding Mom's portrait, countless flashes blinded me, making my head spin. "Helen, today is Julia's funeral. I brought Amelia to personally apologize. Amelia is young and didn't understand, so she accidentally served the mango cake to Julia, causing this tragedy. Amelia feels really guilty." "Amelia, quickly." Roxana stepped out of the crowd and pushed Amelia forward. Amelia saw Mom's portrait and turned pale with fear. I am sorry, Mrs. Julia. I didn't mean to hurt you. Please forgive me." Sob. Roxana spoke in a somewhat ingratiating tone. "Helen, Amelia has apologized. I'll make sure to discipline her so she doesn't make mistakes again. Can you please sign this reconciliation agreement?" Cameron handed me the document. Countless dark lenses were pointed at me, all waiting for me to sign. But before I could act, several bodyguards blocked the path in front of me. Grandma, leaning on her cane, slowly approached. "If you want Helen to sign, you sign this first." The assistant handed Cameron a severance letter. Cameron was stunned. "Mom, I'm Helen's biological father. How can you ask us to sever ties?" Grandma said nothing. She was the most authoritative figure in the family, and her decisions were never to be questioned. Seeing this, Cameron understood that there was no room for negotiation. He glanced at Roxana, who was holding Amelia and crying, hesitating. "Cameron, in the future, Amelia will take care of you in your old age." Roxana, holding Amelia, made this promise to Cameron. The surrounding reporters silently captured the scene. Cameron looked at me and softly said, "Helen, no matter what, I am your father. If you ever need help, come find me." After speaking, he signed the document without hesitation. The assistant took the severance letter, and together with the bodyguards, escorted Grandma and me to Mom's gravesite. Cameron tried to follow but was stopped by the assistant. "Mr. Moo, you no longer have a familial relationship with Miss Helen. You have no right to attend her biological mother's funeral." Cameron and the reporters were left outside the cemetery. Grandma and I buried Mom's ashes and placed a bouquet of flowers at her grave. Grandma stroked my head and sighed. "The flight tickets are already booked. We're leaving tomorrow. From now on, everything in this country has nothing to do with you." When we left the cemetery, the reporters had dispersed. As I got into the car, I caught a glimpse of a figure standing in the corner of the cemetery. It was Cameron. His gaze was filled with confusion, as though he wanted to say something but couldn't bring himself to speak. With Roxana and Amelia by his side, he never stepped forward. I got into the car, rolled up the window, and completely severed all ties with him. The next day, Grandma and I boarded the plane to the other side of the world. In first class, Grandma covered me with a blanket. "Sleep, dear. When you wake up, everything will be fine." I closed my eyes and fell into a dream. In the dream, I saw Mom again. She was completely different from how I remembered her, wearing a clean lab coat, surrounded by countless syringes and chemicals I didn't understand. She smiled gently at me. Helen, your future is still long. Don't let the past hold you back. Mom hopes that every tomorrow of yours will be filled with happiness. When you truly grow up, I'll come down from the heavens to be with you. At that time, you'll be the mother, and I'll be the daughter, okay? I nodded desperately, wanting to agree, but no words came out, until Grandma's call snapped me back to reality. I suddenly opened my eyes, and Grandma, worried, was wiping the tears off my face with a handkerchief. She held me tightly in her arms, whispering comfort. It's okay, little Helen. From now on, Grandma will be with you. Grandma won't let anyone hurt you. I nodded, regaining my composure. The plane began to descend. As the first light of dawn shone on us, I silently thought, Mom, I'm moving toward the future. We'll meet again in the future. Chapter 7. When I first arrived abroad, I struggled to adjust. The unfamiliar language, the unfamiliar environment. But I always kept in mind the words Mom said to me in my dream. She hoped I would find happiness in countless tomorrows. So, I worked hard to learn the language I couldn't understand, and asked questions without shame about the information I couldn't comprehend. 10 years passed in the blink of an eye. On the day of my coming-of-age ceremony, Grandma attended in full dress. Her hair was completely silver, and the wrinkles on her face were all marks of time. Helen, you are far more capable than I imagined. You have mastered the knowledge abroad, and it's time for you to return to the country. All these years, even though you never said anything, Grandma knows you blame me. You blame me for letting Cameron marry your mother but couldn't make her happy, couldn't even save her life. Now, you've grown up, and you have the ability. If you want to seek revenge, Grandma won't stop you. But I hope you can spare him. After all, he is your father. Grandma officially handed over the management rights of Moo Corporation to me. The next day, I took a private jet back to the country. As soon as I arrived at Moo Corporation's headquarters, I was blocked at the door. Helen? I stopped in my tracks and looked at the girl blocking my way. She appeared to be around my age. At first glance, her outfit looked like high-end luxury brands, but a closer look revealed they were all fakes. Her face resembled Roxana's to an alarming degree. It really is you. Amelia quickly approached me with a flattering expression. Sister, it's been 10 years. I missed you so much. I heard from Uncle Cameron that you're officially taking over Moo Corporation. I just graduated from vocational school. Can you help me get a job here? She tried to grab my hand, but my assistant coldly pushed her away. Amelia, seeing I was ignoring her, was about to throw a tantrum when a voice from a distance snapped. Amelia, get back! Cameron strode over, grabbing Amelia by the ear. When he looked up at me, the weariness on his face made me freeze for a moment. Years ago, when Grandma and I left the country, she arranged for a professional manager to take over Moo Corporation and kicked Cameron out. Cameron had to work for a small company, supporting Roxana and her daughter. Meanwhile, the police had uncovered that Roxana had bought odor-masking additives and confirmed that she was behind the poisoning. However, since she didn't directly serve the cake to Mom, she was only sentenced to 5 years. But she couldn't stay out of trouble, and died in prison. At that time, Amelia blamed everything on Grandma and me, making a scene at Cameron's workplace multiple times, completely tarnishing his reputation. Now, Cameron could barely survive by selling things on the streets, and Amelia had grown up. She didn't get into high school, only attending a vocational school. After some hardship, she began to latch onto wealthy men. When she learned I was coming back to the country, she shamelessly approached, hoping to gain something from me. Thinking of this, I couldn't help but laugh. Cameron and Amelia froze. Hearing my laughter, Cameron slowly spoke. Helen, I raised my hand to interrupt him. I came back to the country with the intention of taking revenge on you and Amelia, but you two are so stupid that even if I don't lift a finger, you'll destroy yourselves. Amelia, Cameron, I'm just waiting to see the day you two destroy yourselves. Ha ha ha. I laughed as I walked into the company, ignoring Cameron and Amelia. As the elevator ascended floor by floor, Mom's face appeared in my mind once again. This time, I could sincerely respond to her. Mom, I've completely moved on. I'm ready to embrace the future. To embrace you,